This is how to make a supernova, and today you will become a Duke of Tufts. Welcome to the 8th episode of this beginner mini-series, and today we're going to talk about tufts. Tufts are these large grass bushy things you can add into your scenery to get more variety and to get a very natural look. But did you know that you can make these tufts yourself very cheap? Today I will show you how to do it. First we will make some tufts with 5mm static grass like these. And to make some tufts you need a few things. One of them is baking paper. You also need some glue. I prefer a tacky glue. And a static grass applicator really makes a difference. You can do this without the applicator, but the results will be less convincing. And you may have noticed the aluminum foil, and that will be used to connect the applicator to. So before we can do anything, I'm going to load up my static grass applicator with some 5mm static grass. So right now it's time for the glue. If you want, you can make some glue dots, but you can also make some interesting patterns. So now I will leave it like this for a few hours, so I'm completely sure everything is dry. You can clearly see the white from the glue. It's still wet, but when it's dry it will be clear, so it won't be visible anymore. So I'm putting this away and I'm going to wait for a few hours before this glue is dry. Here you can see the difference between our tufts and the one I bought. The one on the left is bought and the one on the right is the one we just made ourselves, and they look pretty the same. There's a slight difference in color, but you can use all kind of static grass to get the color you need for your project. If you want to make larger tufts, you can use a large static grass like the 7mm woodland zinning static grass, but you can't use the same technique because then you will get a very flat result. But to make sure the grass is standing upright, I drilled a lot of holes in this wooden plank. And I tested a lot of different size drills to find out what works best. And I found out that the 8mm drill works best for 7mm grass. So here I have my baking paper, my wooden plank, and now I'm going to add the glue. So now I'm going to leave this for a few hours to make sure all the glue is dry, because when you remove the wooden plank too soon, the grass will lay down again and then you will get a much less realistic result. I left this overnight and I'm very sure all the glue is dry. Now we're going to pick up the wooden plank and I'm going to remove all the loose static grass. And here you can clearly see the difference between the 5mm and the 7mm static grass. And the 7mm static grass is less full and less bushy, but looks great when you make a lot of them. And with a little bit of extra love you can turn those tufts in some flowers. And to do this you need some blossoms. There are a lot of different colors of blossoms you can get. But first thing, we need a toothpick, and I'm very slightly going to apply some PVA glue on top of the tufts. And now very carefully I'm going to sprinkle the blossoms on top of the tufts, and then I'm going to leave it there for about an hour to make sure the glue is dry. Here are the finished tufts and they are ready to go. And maybe you're thinking, well, they look great, but how do they look on a model? I'm very glad you asked. The model I'm using today is from Monster Mayhem. They did not sponsor me and I bought the STL myself, but I'm a great fan of their models. My mini factory link is in the video description. This model is very easy to put together and I used a bit of Milliput to fill in the gaps. First, I gave everything a base coat of Vallejo's black primer. Then I took a makeup brush and dry brushed the whole tower with a dark grey. And with every pass I made sure my paint mix was lighter than the one before. Then I took some black paints and some browns and I painted some individual stones. But when you do this, make sure you're not painting any pattern. So for example, that all the brown stones are spaced 2 centimeters apart. This will break the illusion you're trying to get. When all the paint was dry, I took my black wash we made in the 3rd episode of this beginner mini-series and gave the whole tower a coat. For the troll, I used more or less the same technique. Black base coat, dry brushing a few layers, painted some details like teeth and armor, and a wash to tie everything together. And I added some pigment powders to get a rust effect on the armor. I drilled a hole in the base so I can glue a magnet in. This way I can remove the troll for easy storage or when I need a troll in a tabletop game. I covered everything with PVA glue and then added some sand. When that was dry, everything got a dark base coat, some dry brushing and a layer of 2mm static grass. The basing so far is done and now we're going to apply some tufts. I made these tufts the same way I just showed you before and are surprisingly fast to make. Some glue, static grass, some blossoms, done. You're ready to go. My friends, if you made it until the end, congratulations, because now you're officially a Duke of Tufts. And here is your badge. I really hope you liked my video and that you like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to know more about dry brushing, I suggest you watch this video. And if you want to know more about basing your models, check out this one. See you next time.